Hi everybody, this is Mahavir and you're watching InfostopIQ, and in this session we are going to discuss some of the geopolitical topics. Currently in this session we are going to talk something about the relations between US and India. Okay, so let us start. The relations between India and US, historically speaking, are not so good. After Second World War, these two blocs have got separated and there was a Cold War that was happening between USA and Soviet Union. After the fall of Soviet Union in 1990s, early 1990s, that is 91, in the year 1991, India has become supportless after the fall of Soviet Russia and forming a new country as Russian Federation, and Soviet Russia was completely collapsed and formed into different countries, many countries. The bigger country was Russian Federation. Here also in 90s in India we have experienced a lot of economic problems. India was having balance of exchange, balance of payments problem, and there was no investments coming in. There was no growth, and India is suffering with a lot of debt related issues. So went India has to pledge its gold to the foreign institutions. So after that, India has opened up its economy, and slowly India, after opening up the economy, privatization has kicked in. Everybody is getting the jobs, and there is no license Raj that was existing. So the economy has got a boost, and the economy has picked up once the growth of GDP growth of India was called as Hindu rate of growth, has suddenly changed the growth trajectory and picked up on the GDP numbers, and India has slowly and gradually has become stronger and stronger, and now currently India is ranking as 5th in the GDP rankings. So it was a journey, quite a journey, and there is a relationship that was formed between India and US. The major striking deal that was brought two nations together, that is India and USA, was civil nuclear deal. After the civil nuclear deal successfully accomplished, India and US has slowly came together, had signed some of the logistics agreements, BECA agreements, and the Kamkasa agreement as well. So India has developed its relations with India, and India is having some defense deals with India with US as well right now. It was going on. The relationship was started with Clinton, and after that George Bush Jr. term, there was 10 years of George Bush Jr. term, and after that Barack Obama, and now the after that Trump, and now the Joe Biden. So in the Joe Biden period, India-US relations have once again has got its into some sort of problems. Currently India and US having its relations at a very lower level, I would say. It was the lowest point. It has drastically dipped to a lowest point. The culmination of that decreasing trajectory was cancellation of Joe Biden's visit as a chief guest to India in the Republic Day celebrations. Biden cancelled his visit, and India has invited France President Ms. Macron to the Republic Day celebrations as chief guest, and Ms. Macron has agreed to visit India as a chief guest in the 2024 Republic Day celebrations in India. So, what has happened? Why India and US relations have got down drastically? There are many reasons to that. So my analysis says that some of the reasons are because the India doesn't USA doesn't want India to grow at a very faster pace, because they had experience with China, because they have invested in China in order to counter Soviet Union, and after that Russia. They have invested heavily in China, sorry, and China was not able to come out as a friend. They thought that when the capitalism has entered into China, slowly the Chinese communist regime will change into a democracy, but that never happened. They have increased their standard of living, they increased their economy, and as well as also emboldened their communist regime, currently challenging USA. So they have had this country in their mind, and they doesn't want India to grow as China did in the last 20-25 years back. So India currently growing at a higher rate. It is the only country which is growing, and its GDP is highest when compared to the major economies in the world. Currently, after COVID, India has picked up its economy. The current growth rate of GDP would stand near about 7.5 to 7.8. That is what the expectation. So this is one of the reason, and I would say the second reason is that so the Russia want to counter China. Okay, so they have chose India in order to achieve their goal. India is the only major economy and the biggest country have some sort of military backing that can only counter China. There are no other nations nearby China who can able to counter China. So US is supporting India in this regard, but India is not the puppet nation. India is not a vassal of US. India is a biggest nation, it's a biggest economy, and its GDP is increasing daily on a day to day basis, on a year to year basis, and certainly India has its own geopolitical objectives. So India is not going to dance on the tunes of USA. India will judge its national interests, and it will work towards its national interests. Whenever India thinks that there is a problem with China, surely India will counter China. India has the capability to counter China. Of course, Chinese military, their numbers in the military, the firepower, in terms of firepower, they may be exceeding, but India has got its military power as well. It has got superiority in some of the domains in the firepower uh, area, I would say. So India is not going to have a lot of problems with China. When China does, certainly India is going to counter, but India is not going to dance to the tunes of USA as what USA is expecting. So this is one of the reasons that USA is having a problem with India. And the other reason is that the war between Russia and Ukraine. So India has taken its position. India has said that there should be a ceasefire between Russia and Ukraine, and there should be resolved in a peaceful manner. That is what India's position. India has not joined the sanctions regime of USA, which tries to put embargo and sanctions on China and on Russia. So India doesn't join this group as well. So that is one of the reasons that USA is not happy with India. And one more issue, that currently the war between Russia and Hamas. After the war broke out between sorry the war between the Israel and Hamas. When the war broke between Israel and Hamas, many Muslim nations have come together and sought for a ceasefire and putting the pressure on Israel and as well as USA, which is backing the Israel. They have brought aircraft carrier near the Mediterranean region. So this war of Hamas and Israel, and constantly pressure is exerted on Israel, and because of that the other terrorist organizations like Houthis, which are backed by Iran, they have started firing the ballistic missiles into Israel, and they told that they are going to block the commercial transport lanes in the Babel Mandeb straits. So this is one more reason. Why it is the reason? Because India has not joined USA and other 10 countries in the coalition to fight against the potential attacks from the Houthis. India is doing the work on its own. India has deployed its own destroyers, INS Kochi and other destroyers. They are constantly having a patrol, giving the security to the commercial merchant boats which are carrying the commercial goods to different countries in the Indian Ocean region. There was a attack on one of the commercial boat near the Indian coast, that is somewhere around 200 kilometers from the Indian coast, I would say from the exclusive economic zone region. After that, there was a drone attack that was carried out by the alleged terrorists, that is Houthi terrorists, in order to hamper the transportation. So India is doing its job to counter the terrorists, but it is not coming into the alliance of the Western nations, which they have formed a grouping of 10 nations. They are safeguarding the region in the Red Sea and in the straits that is constantly was under the attack of Houthis from the Yemen. So these are the broad reasons that is playing on the part of US administration. The deep state of US is not happy with India. So that is the reason that the current downturn in the relations have kicked in. I would say in the next year, when both the nations goes to elections, Indian elections are going to held in the month of March, April. After that, there is a gap of something about 6 months, 5 to 6 months. After that, the US elections will begin. So from this point on till the elections, completion of the elections, I would say there is no sign of reconciliation by both the sides to once again come close and deepen the ties. That I am not going to see right now. There will be some problems till the elections. After the elections, I would say that once again India and US will come closer together, and once again everything will fall into place. So that is all for this today's session. Hope you enjoyed my analysis. Please like, subscribe and share the video. That will give a lot of confidence and encourages me to do more of these kind of videos, which should be important. So that's it. Thank you.